Namaskar. A very happy new year. What is the correct age of my child to start learning an Indian classical dance form, especially Kathak? I'll talk about Kathak because that's the area of my specialization, and I'm very blessed by my gurus for this. There are so many thoughts which come in your mind when you want your child to start a classical dance form, Kathak, let's say. And all those thoughts and concerns are very valid. And it should be. Because at this very tender age, you might be thinking that he or she or my child, how the child will follow the directions of a disciplined art form which it demands. How the child will able to understand the Kathak terminology which needs an understanding. She is or he is just 4.5 or 4 years or 5 years or even 6 years. There are so many questions coming in your mind and everything is valid. Here I will want to share some personal experiences with you based upon all these queries. I receive so many questions from parents with very young age child from 4 to 6 with same questions, same fear and same wonder. Should we wait for a year or should we wait for 2 years or what should we do? So there are a few aspects, the 3 aspects which you can follow. Number 1 is exposure. Number 2 is the interest. Number 3 is loss of fear. And these all 3 goes in sequence. First exposure, then interest, then loss of fear. And I'll explain you how. So number 1, when I say exposure, is to give your child the atmosphere of a Kathak classroom. I know that some of you might be thinking that if my child is so young, giving a classroom atmosphere will not do any difference. Or if you show a video of Kathak to your child, and the child may not have shown like kind of lot of interest in that form, it's very difficult for you to decide how the child will take it when he or she will be introduced to a classroom atmosphere. Starting with a very small example, you cannot expect a person to tell you the taste just by watching a powdered sugar and a powdered salt. You have to taste it, right? So similarly, dance is a universal language. Dance is a universal language like love and music. When you taste that, the powder, white powder on your tongue, you feel that, you sense it, and then you decide whether you want to taste it further, whether you want to have a salty tongue or a sweet tooth. It's the same way. You need to take your child to well-established Kathak training center. Give her or him the atmosphere of a classroom. There's a lots of difference between showing a video and giving the classroom experience. The child need to understand how the body reacts. The child need to understand how the child feel. Her mind, body feel while on the floor he or she is dancing or at least trying few of the steps of Kathak. That is exposure number 1. The child will thank you for this. Number 2 is interest. Observe the child very carefully. Again, I must say that one class may not suffice. One class of any art form, say an Indian classical dance form, cannot show anybody what the whole thing will look like at the end. Take at least few more classes, at least a month or 2, and then observe, decide, talk to your child, And you don't need me to tell you whether your child is interested or not, because as a parent, you will automatically know after a month whether your child is really interested in this art form or not. Number 3 is loss of fear, and that you have to do it as a parent. Most of the time we fear, like I said, that even if I give the atmosphere of classroom exposure to my child, even if my child is very interested, this is a very young age. He cannot or she cannot continue it at this young age. Let's wait for 1 year or 2 years. Don't do that mistake. If your child at this age, at say 4 years or 4.5 years, is able to follow a very simple instructions at home, like brushing teeth, sleeping on time, eating by himself or herself, it's just an example, very simple instructions. When you break the instructions and present to your child, the child picks it and do whatever, exactly what you said at home, then definitely the child is ready to take the instructions of a Kathak classroom. Again, it depends upon teacher, how the teacher handles a child. Kathak does have some restrictive areas, does have a lot of rules and regulations like other Indian classical form, does have discipline. But when you start at the young age, it's like giving your child a gift of discipline, when he or she will carry through the life and lead this life effectively and efficiently. When you start as so young age, any discipline, the body adapts that discipline. And you are blessed to have that discipline to carry forward in your life. When these simple instructions are followed at home, it's very easy to follow in class. Because at the young age, the child is making her body line preparation. The child is making the movement of his limbs. The child is making the feelings coming out of created by their thoughts. So it's like starting, or it's like molding a earthen pot. It's like starting off, giving it a shape, and that is very crucial part, and that is very important part. Even if you start at young age, even if you start at 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, at any age. For Kathak terminology, a child may not understand the Kathak terminology at this young age, but he or she will understand the simple meaning or translation of that terminology. For example, Urdhav Hasta Chakra. If I say, this is in Sanskrit, how you expect your child at this era to understand upper hand movement or upper hand movement? Up hand movement. Again say, every person is different. The way a person reacts to the area, the atmosphere that you give, the way the person reacts to his or her interest, and also the way the person takes the instructions. So if your child is not ready for the exposure, or is not interested, or is not able to take instructions, I would recommend, please wait for the child to grow, or please wait for the interest, and don't force the child. Don't restrict your thoughts to restrict the child. Let them explore. Let them fly. I am Acharya Shama, and thank you for watching this video. Hope it helps.